Hello Galactic family. With loving greetings from all souls at this station, this is Matthew. Irrational acts of terrorism and governments violently putting down citizen protests are inevitable as a third density civilization completes karmic experiencing so it can evolve. Please don't focus on the sad aspects of such events, but rather steadfastly radiate your light, the mission you chose to help Earth's peoples awaken spiritually and consciously and be inspired to transform their world into the Golden Age. We have been asked how just radiating light can help Earth, and others have questioned how light absorbed by body cells promotes growth in spiritual and conscious awareness. Most simply stated, light is consciousness, the information in cells' DNA, and DNA is what designs all life in this universe. Some years ago I spoke about this topic and I asked my mother to copy that part of the message. Not only is the collective consciousness what caused the planet to descend into deep third density and kept it mired there for millennia, but more recently has been assisting it to ascend out of there. And, because Earth loves all her resident life forms, she is eager for souls to steadily radiate their light into the collective consciousness, where it can offer sleeping souls the lift into spiritual awareness and the cellular changes they need to physically move into the Golden Age. I have been asked why these cellular changes are necessary, and I believe my reply will show why your help in creating that glorious age is such a grand triumph. The absorption of light is restoring body's DNA to its state prior to the dark forces altering Earth humankind's cellular structure to dumb them down intellectually, spiritually and physically. If anything can be called a sin, it is interfering with the growth of a soul, and in violation of universal laws. That is exactly what the dark forces did to an entire civilization. In higher densities, cells are crystalline and their composition encompasses purity of character, spiritual clarity, and a long physical lifespan free of all disease. Conversely, the carbon cells of third density life forms invite the base characteristics associated with evil as well as greatly reduced mind power, severely weakened will, and a multitude of physical, emotional and mental infirmities. Lifetimes with those characteristics and weaknesses dominant in the people's bodies and reflected in their thoughts, feelings and behavior were stored in cellular memories and brought forward from one generation to the next. It was that diabolical alteration of humankind's makeup eons ago that caused souls' personages to gradually spiral downward from the planes of light into deep third density, where the planetary puppets of the dark forces could easily keep the masses in ignorance about their origins in the light, their unlimited manifesting potential, and the inseparability of all souls with God and each other. Emerging from that level of limitations, where the dark forces reign through their powerful tool and fuel fear, has required a heroic effort on the part of souls who time and again incarnated with the intention to overcome the dark influence, but failed. Most of you spent many hundreds of lifetimes in that try-fail cycle, and this time you succeeded in breaking out of it. By absorbing the light, you are reclaiming your God and Goddess selves and taking your rightful place in our universal family. March 10, 2009. Also I asked my mother to copy the part in one of the books that gives additional insight. Late in 1995, when Matthew was still in Nirvana, telepathic communication lines were reinforced to prevent the incursion of dark forces into light beings' messages, and the following excerpt from Illuminations for a New Era was transmitted by what he called Group Mind. Can you tell me anything about 12-strand DNA? Mother Suzanne, we will be happy to address this. The 12-strand DNA existing in Earth humans heretofore is being re-established to prepare you for assimilating the light being beamed to raise your spiritual and conscious connections with higher density vibratory rates. In the plunge downward from the beginning of creation, the original 30-strand DNA of intelligent life forms was decreased until it reached the current level in third density. DNA is the substance of light within the physical body at cellular level. When physicality first happened, so far back in antiquity that at this level we cannot comprehend when, total conformity with Creator's original building materials reigned without question or deviation. All creating materials were of light. As the materials became denser for manifesting in form rather than in only light and awareness, changes were required in the structure of the DNA elements. They became tighter in composition as the more dense bodies and substances for building were visualized and manifested. Eventually the density became such that the original 30-strand DNA was reduced to only one strand in the most primitive life form possible to produce, which you might call sub-life. You do not know of these, as at Earth level at least 2 strands are required. Descent in density was the focus of Earth human life for a long period. Thus your planet became populated with people whose decreasing number of DNA strands was a natural result of their creating intent. Just as the intent to produce life with minimal DNA strands accomplished that, the same is true in corresponding increases of the strands as souls are seeking higher forms of manifestation. This is now happening on Earth as the intent of some souls is to ascend rather than remain static. Mother, thank you. If you think how often we have said that light and love are the very same energy and this energy is the most powerful force in the cosmos, you know that when light is severely reduced in people's cells, the same is true about their capacity to love, and love is the key to self-evolvement and to transforming worlds. And now, dear family, you know, too, why just radiating your light is invaluably helping Earth and all her life forms. Further, by so doing, your cells are changing to the crystalline structure that enables DNA expansion, thus you are advancing your own evolutionary status. This does not make your assistant self-serving. Throughout the ages, stronger civilizations helping weaker is how life forms have been making strides in regaining their originally endowed DNA. During Earth's ascension process, which has been taking her into planes of increasingly high vibratory rates, some souls who embodied their designed their personages' cells with 4 DNA strands, and the numbers of souls doing this are growing. Please ask Matthew if he could help us understand how the world economy can be reorganized in a way that will be more fair and just. We can offer only general information as detailed plans still are being formulated so the new global economic system can be initiated with the least possible interruption in banking and investing services for the public and the fair reallocation of monies. So we have been told, there will be 2 main thrusts, each entailing numerous steps after Illuminati tentacles are eliminated. One thrust is dismantling the Federal Reserve System, an Illuminati-owned banking consortium that influences the global economy, along with its collection arm, the Internal Revenue Service. Income taxes paid by United States citizens aren't spent on projects to serve them, but instead go into Illuminati coffers. The nation's debt and all countries' debts to the International Monetary Fund will be adjusted to eliminate loan amounts created out of thin air, you could say. The feds pay a few cents for each bill they have printed, whatever its denomination, and lend that money to governments at the bill's face value, plus interest. The new monetary system will be based on precious metals to put all national currencies on the same standard and eliminate the buying and selling that harms the economy of countries whose monetary values are deflated. The Illuminati have profited handsomely from currency trading as well as by controlling stock markets and setting tax and interest rates, so putting those aspects of national economies under wise, honest management is part and parcel of the reorganization. Debt forgiveness that you may have heard about will be done on an individual basis, not across the board. The other thrust is attaining the Illuminati's vast fortunes, which have been garnered illegally and immorally, and using those funds to eliminate impoverishment. The monies will be dispersed to trustworthy organizations that will oversee their use for sanitation, housing, schools, healthcare centers, roads and bridges, farming, small business startups, everything needed to significantly raise living standards of the desperately poor around the world. Also, nations' natural resources now in Illuminati hands will be returned to the citizenry. Individuals with moral and spiritual integrity, wisdom and experience will manage this monumental two-thrust effort that will take time to fully implement after the Illuminati are out of the picture. What does Matthew say about the difference between beliefs and knowing? Beliefs are formed when the same information is repeated by one or more external sources: parents, peers, teachers, religious leaders, scientists, government officials, mainstream media, and, when you learn that information is not complete or accurate, your beliefs change accordingly. Knowing is within, a constant, pervasive, unquestioned rightness, the merging of soul-level truth and your consciousness. Beloved brothers and sisters, light beings throughout this universe honor your dedicated service to uplifting Earth family and support you with the power of unconditional love.